See, women have started thinking that they are small men and then they train like that. They lose periods, they lose hair, and they have hair on the face. If you're on a weight loss journey, walk slow. And it's funny that my clients have done it and they're like, I don't know how. It actually takes so little to lose weight.
People in their weight loss journey face this plateau, that no matter what they do.
Listen, the fat loss plateau is a myth. Your body is so intelligent that it will stop losing fat at a point where it feels that now you are. That's the only way that you can be fertile. You can get your periods on time. 22 to 28% of body fat is essential for fertility. There is a theory that when a woman craves for a lot of bakery items like bread, it is the deficiency of an emotionally available father.
Really?
There is a version of you that has that dream body. Your work is not to go to the dream body. Your work is to...
What about superfoods? There's chia seeds, avocado, matcha.
Your body does not find safety in them. And a lot of young people today are dying from colon cancer and not protein inadequacy. The amount of protein that the younger population is consuming today is throwing our digestion off and creating more gut issues. You'll go to stores where they are tall and then they are grand. To sweeten a beverage of this size, it's going to take at least 6 to 7 times the sugar that would go into a tapri ki chai.
About lunar cycles, aligning their dietary restrictions or certain practices like Ekadashi can really help.
Absolutely. So, Ekadashi, you'll see most South Indians have great hair, right?
Cold plunges.
Very bad for women. It'll give you a cold womb, and traditional Chinese medicine has already spoken about this.
Hormones like cortisol and sex hormones don't actually work well together.
Yes. Oh, they can't coexist.
How? Welcome to Realign, Raksha. How are you feeling?
I feel great. Thank you for having me here.
No, it's amazing to have you because we're going to be discussing something that's so discussed, which is weight loss and weight gain, alternatively.
Yes.
But just so much around this topic that's like an information overload, right? And every couple of weeks, there's also a trend added to the mix. So there's like keto, there's intermittent fasting, carnivore. So it's like difficult to keep up with what to do and where to go. So if you had to begin by telling our viewers, what is it that they can do as step 1 to begin their weight loss journey, what would that be?
I think your step 1 would be a step back from getting into any trend, honestly, because you should go back to being a classic. So you have to understand, we're going to call trends, fads, whatever it is you want to call it, anything that has a name, and you're just going to do it for a couple of months in order to meet a very short-term goal, like I want to slim down for a Sangeet or for a wedding. It's only going to add more metabolic adaptations to your body, which is going to make you, in fact, gain weight in the long run. So it's funny, but you'll actually, even when I've asked my clients, they're like, 10 years ago when we would see the Facebook pictures from 10 years ago, they're like, I was actually lean at that time. And I would think that I'm fat then. But in fact, I have a higher fat percentage today. So the more number of diets that you'll jump on, you're only going to gain more weight. The second thing is to go back. As you said, the first step would be to take a step back and go within. Because every human being has an internal GPS. It is a GPS that points you towards knowing when is the time that you're hungry and you want to start eating. When is it that you want to stop eating? When is it that you want to stop doom scrolling and actually go for a walk? Because let's be honest, I think everyone knows what they have to do. actioning is amiss.
Yeah.
And that would be the first step. If I were to put it down to a strategy, it would be to rewire and to prime your nervous system, because it is in your parasympathetic state of your nervous system whereby you're able to action what you already know.
So, we've discussed parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system multiple times on this podcast. What I find is that there is so much information that A, can be complex because, it's just verbose and you don't really understand the concept.
Yes.
And B, it's also contradicting opinions of
Very
very
much.
many people, right, on Instagram. And now we
Yeah.
all have the agency to get in front of a camera and talk about all of these concepts without actually fully
Absolutely.
understanding it. So if you were to break down, what do you mean by the parasympathetic nervous system and
Right.
how you can control it or how you can maneuver around it? How would you explain it to a 5-year-old?
Okay. So, our life's work is to come at the center of our nervous system scientifically. And it is our life's work to come to neutrality, or as a Hindu, I would say Ram consciousness, spiritually. This is actually our life's work. Now, what I mean by that, if I had to give you very simple words in Hindi, it would be Shanti. Presence. It would be that this is the only moment you have, and being so much in this moment and having a relationship with the present that you know what you have to do here. Now, this is developed from processes as well as practices. This could include breath work, it could include activations, meditations, transmissions, and of course, a lot of practice that you have to do, because nature is constantly giving you this moment to moment opportunity to keep a demeanor or to behave in a different way than you did 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
That is what starts rewiring the neurons in your brain. And when they keep firing together, there's finally neural pathways that are created, and you'll end up becoming the version of yourself that has the dream body.
So what you're effectively saying is also that apart from the diet and the workout, which is traditionally looked at as the golden rule, which is eat less, move more,
Yeah.
that a lot of people discuss,
Yeah.
is also that there is a subtler nuance which is internal, and it has to do with your mind. It has to do with your brain and firing and wiring these different neurons together.
Yes, because otherwise we're going to live like toddlers, where we're given a sheet of paper where carb, protein, and fat is calculated, taking you into consideration as a subject on that paper. Someone who doesn't have emotions, likes, preferences, dislikes. You're a vegetarian, but you're being forced to eat eggs and chicken to get your protein in. So it dismisses reality, it dismisses value systems, it dismisses who you are integrally. And what they're doing is that they're doing this copy and paste and making all of us clones who are eating the same thing when we wake up, who are eating the same thing when we are going to bed. Kills diversity, kills reality, and it kind of stops your growth, because then you're just a follower.
Yeah. Hi guys, I hope you're enjoying the podcast, but I'm going to stop you here because I've noticed that so many of you watch our podcast but don't subscribe. So please pause this video here and go and hit that subscribe button, because it really helps us grow. And with your support, we want to bring you many more fantastic conversations. Thank you. And with that, let's get back to the podcast. Also, an important aspect in all of this is your cortisol levels.
Yes.
Right? It says that the increase of cortisol levels has a direct 11% increase typically in the fat storage within your body.
Yes.
Can you talk to me a little bit about cortisol levels and how we can manage it better?
Yes. So we have a hormone progesterone, which will convert to cortisol in the presence of stress. So you'll notice a lot of women who have high cortisol levels will also have irregular periods, or they'll have higher fat percentage, as you mentioned. It's simply because in the presence of stress, your body goes into a survival fight or flight mode. At that time, it cannot think of losing fat. You know, when the lockdown happened, even if you're a charitable person, you're not thinking of taking all the grains from your home and giving it to people, right? Your first action is defense, which is I need to save everything that I have at home for myself. Should the world not open up, there should be enough for me and my family. Now, this is exactly how your body thinks when there is a lockdown or stress in your body. Besides that, I also want to mention that we shouldn't be afraid of our natural hormones like cortisol and insulin. They have their own work in our body, which is we have the alertness when we wake up in the morning because of cortisol. It's just that if we drink coffee on empty stomach, then we're going to spike that hormone. So it is a lot of the environment that we create that can throw off these hormones. The hormones on their own are not a problem. And cortisol blunts in the evening. So we're supposed to eat something in the evening in order to let it blunt and go, and then we can wind down. But a lot of people don't eat in time. They'll again have a coffee late in the evening. So you're again, the cortisol needs to continue and it goes off its rhythm.
So if we were to manage it better, what would you say is a 3-step guide to balance your cortisol levels so that it's not in fight or flight and you can use it more productively for things like weight loss?
Yeah. So I would say it's to come to neutrality or your center with the help of box breathing, which is you inhale to the count of 4, you pause to the count of 4, you exhale to the count of 4, again pause to the count of 4, and continue that for a few cycles. That would be the first thing. The second would be a mineral. It's magnesium. Supplementing with magnesium glycinate 400 mg at bedtime after your dinner basically can help reduce cortisol levels. People who don't want to supplement can also do pumpkin seeds in the form of a chutney with their lunch or their dinner. And I would say go for a slow walk.
Okay.
Again, if you're going to walk really fast, like, you know, when I go for a walk and everyone's like, hands are moving, like, now your system or your tribal brain and your nervous system feels like there's a lion or like a tiger that's like coming chasing you, like, you know, when you're walking so fast, because communication is mostly subliminal or subconscious. So your body doesn't know that there's actually no one chasing you. But when you walk that fast with high cortisol levels, you are telling your body that there's a threat. So if you're on a weight loss journey, walk slow. And it's funny that my clients have done it and they're like, I don't know how. It actually takes so little to lose weight.
Wow. They say that.
Yes.
Because people find it the largest mountain to climb, you know, when it comes to weight loss. It's just such a discussed topic, and it also feeds into so many insecurities that people have around their appearance, around how the world perceives them, right?
That's right.
The fact that you say that it comes so easily is so refreshing, and I'm excited to help our viewers get there also easily.
Absolutely.
Which brings me to my next question. There's a 30-30-30 weight loss. I don't know if it's a trend, but a rule that is quite popular.
Yeah.
What is it? Is it effective?
You know, like I mentioned, anything that has a name, 30 grams of protein on rising and going for a walk for 30 minutes is what it is. Yeah. So 30 grams of protein, I'll give you 2 ways to understand this. Number 1, what they're primarily trying to tell you is that if you're going to have that much protein on rising, it's going to stabilize your insulin levels across the day. But again, that's a very dumbed down and a washed down approach for such an intelligent body that can go to a gym, train a couple of times a week, make muscle, and allow that to take care of your glucose levels across your lifetime. When you're eating a fruit, it has fiber. When you're eating roti, it has ghee on it and it has dal, sabzi, and some salad on the side. All of these are combined in ways that naturally there will be a delayed release of sugars in your bloodstream and insulin does not have to spike. So I would say this is just another approach to dumb down the body. And the second would be, I'll say it in a very घरेलू way, but इतना सारा प्रोटीन पेट को खराब करता है. आप अगर बीमार पड़ोगे, so the first thing your mom will say is eat khichdi.
Yeah.
Or will you think of eating eggs?
No.
And chicken and lots of paneer bhurji.
It's like khichdi, dahi.
Dahi
things
rice,
like,
khichdi, yes, potato, right? And hence, I feel like people, now again, I know it keeps going back to the whole parasympathetic state, but I would also say that the parasympathetic state allows you to get comfortable with the discomfort of everything in life. Whether you want to take a risk, whether you want to handle a little bit of hunger. So even if you've eaten, like, let's say a paratha and a katori of dahi, and there is that slight hunger after that meal is over because it's creating space in your body. Can you handle it? Can you sit with that discomfort? That is why fat loss happens in the little moments of life rather than these big diets and trends.
Like
That's
just,
what the
just
beauty
the
is.
restraint that you showcase in an everyday.
Yeah, again, no, it's just like being a follower, that a paper, I'm following this.
Okay. Also, there's something known as a fat loss plateau, which 30 to 50%, if studies are right, people in their weight loss journey face this plateau, that no matter what they do or what they eat,
They can't move.
it's just plateaued. It
Yeah.
doesn't move. What is it? How do people break out of it?
Listen, the fat loss plateau is a myth.
Okay.
The only thing what they're saying is that the scale is not moving. But what could just very well be happening is that your muscle mass is going up and the fat percentage is coming down. So the two things nullify each other and the weight can look the same on the scale. Someone can look absolutely ripped at 60 kgs and another person can look obese at 60 kgs, right? So that is what they're trying to say. But besides that, you have to know that there are two things. One, check if you're getting complacent. Okay? And that can happen via writing down your recalls. Everything you lick, smell, eat, taste. Write it down. You'll come to know where is it that you're getting complacent in your everyday eating. Besides that, your body is so intelligent that it will stop losing fat at a point where it feels that now you are biologically safe, because that's the only way that you can be fertile. You can get your periods on time. You can get a good bleed, the volume of your bleed. And this is where your system feels safe. So it's biological intelligence if you land up staying at a certain weight. So it's a lot of these factors, and people have to come around and check where is it that they're either getting complacent or they're actually healthy, or is it simply that the weighing scale is not moving but I'm still looking leaner and I'm losing inches.
It's very interesting when you said that somebody at 60 kgs can look ripped.
Yes.
Whereas the same weight on another person looks like they're completely out of shape. It is there. It's actually there. So
Yes.
yeah.
You know, I won't name people or even the country, but there used to be this one health influencer who I used to follow. She was 64 kgs. She was absolutely ripped, but at the same time, she had fertility issues. So we have to understand that 22 to 28% of body fat is essential for fertility.
Okay. Yeah. It's a different perspective.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about food. There's so much about what ingredients are good for you.
Yeah.
There are also these magic ingredients that people talk about, जो ये diet में include करना ही है.
हाँ.
So when we go to the fundamental of say metabolism, right?
Yeah.
सब कुछ ये चाहिए कि मेरा metabolism अच्छा हो.
Yes.
Are there any specific herbs जो ये metabolism को balance कर सकता है, increase कर सकता है?
No, and in fact, if there's anyone taking these herbs, you must immediately stop, because all that it's going to do is it's going to lead to heat boils, acne. You'll start bleeding a lot sooner before your period date, and it only creates a thermogenic effect in your body.
What herbs are these?
I wouldn't really know any specific names because I've never really used them. And but for example, cinnamon is one thing that I see. People will mix like a teaspoon of cinnamon in hot water and have that. It's just creating a lot of heat in your body. So people feel like when they're sweating a little bit or they're feeling like heat inside, that it's going to their fat stores and it's like melting it. But that's not how it works. If you want to improve your metabolism, you have to create metabolically active tissue which burns fat 3 times faster. So this would be muscle, which is via strength training. When you strength train, you build muscle and you allow muscle to do that job.
Okay.
So a lot of this comes down to how you have to create processes which will take care of fat loss instead of you doing things to melt fat.
It doesn't work.
That doesn't exist.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What about superfoods? You know, there's chia seeds, avocado, matcha. What about these superfoods that people are like, oh, it's just included? Even like things like quinoa, right? Like it's a super grain.
Yeah. I would say that things that we haven't eaten growing up, your body does not find safety in them. And the first thing that your body needs in order to lose fat is safety, as I gave you the lockdown example. In order to create safety in our system, we have to give foods that have been familiar to our cells and our
like
digestion.
Like dal rice. Or...
Yes, I would give you 3 foods. I'll tell you, there's amla, there's ghee, and I know a lot of people will feel like, oh, but it's got so many calories. I'll come to that. And millets. They're lovely and they're not only good for our biology but also our economy and ecology, because they do, like for example, millets. They can grow anywhere. They don't need... so I once called it that millets are like mamas, because even without receiving anything, they'll still give you a bounty of minerals to ground you, to give you good hair. So have seasonal millets. Like for example, it's summer now, so jawar. In winter, there's bajra. Yeah. So millet would be one. And of course, at the same time, not dismissing rice and wheat. Keep a diversity of the intelligence that you can get from various soils that you can get to your gut. So keep the diversity. The second thing would be ghee, and I understand that a lot of people have pointed out that but ghee is so rich in fatty acids that it'll make us gain weight because of its high calorie content. But what ghee has, very importantly, is something called leptin signaling, which is your satiety hormone. And that tells you when you're done. So a person who eats 3 rotis can easily stop at 2 rotis and have a more balanced macro on their plate if they add ghee on their roti or to their chawal. So that would be about ghee. Then there's millets, and then amla. Amla is very rich in vitamin C. So while it's great for your skin, what it also does is that it protects us from free radical damage.
Okay.
Now, free radical damage can happen during any oxidative stress activity. Like for example, if you simply live in a city there's oxidative stress because of the pollution. If you sleep less, there's oxidative stress. Working out is technically stress for the body. And even when you're losing fat, the byproducts that are generated from fat burning processes and even the other processes of our body. Vitamin C stops this. It protects you from the free radical damage so that you can continue on your weight loss journey, on your fat loss journey, while your immune stays intact. Okay. So I would say for Indians, these three, and like you said, dal chawal, these are the superfoods because your system recognizes them and feels safe with them.
Okay, amazing. As Indians, a lot of us are vegetarian, and the biggest debate is about protein and the protein involvement in a vegetarian diet.
Yes.
So what would you recommend in terms of, everybody knows paneer, everybody knows a few alternatives, right, like tofu, but what can we recommend that are lesser known protein contributors to a vegetarian diet?
Right. See, I'll tell you something very important. A lot of young people today are dying from colon cancer and not protein inadequacy. The amount of protein that the younger population is consuming today is throwing our digestion off and creating more gut issues, even though the field is so much about #gut health.
Yeah.
We have to understand that even people living on the streets don't have protein inadequacy. If they have access to sattu, doodh, dal chawal, channa, it is adequate. So if I were to talk about vegetarian sources of protein, we have to understand that it's not about the quantity of protein, but the quality of protein, which your gut recognizes and can take up or assimilate or absorb in easier terms. Millets and grains have something called methionine, which pulses and dals, legumes don't have. Legumes and dals have something called lysine, which millets and grains don't have. So when you mix them in a combination together, they come through in a amino acid profile, or it's called a complete protein profile, which can be absorbed by your system. We have to focus on getting that right, not the numbers.
Okay.
And if I were to give you a few sources, it would be, let's say for snacking, it would be chana, peanuts and jaggery, a couple of handfuls of that. You have sattu doodh, which is mixing milk and roasted chana powder, which is sattu, and it's very cooling and beautiful for the summer as well.
Okay.
So yes, options like that. We have nuts and seeds. So simply ghee roasting and home salting nuts and mixing them up with some raisins. They're great.
Yeah. It's so interesting, not spoken about, right? Everybody's on about paneer and tofu, and people have come.
That's already known. Na?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But these are good options. These are good.
Yes. And I would say that there's a reason why paneer pulao, dal chawal, dahi chawal, idli which is made of dal chawal, sambar chawal, they have all ancestrally existed in the right proportions.
Yeah. It goes back to your roots. They kind of knew the combinations that work best for you.
Yeah, we messed it up by putting rats in a lab.
Okay, when you talk about things that people are drawn towards, right? The one thing that comes up is sugar.
Yeah.
And extremely difficult. If you have a sugar craving, it's like difficult for people to not give in to their craving, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
What are some healthy alternatives when you get that sugar craving and you just crave sugar, something that can satiate it even partially?
Yeah. I would say, firstly, sugar is not unhealthy, and I know that people can cancel me for it. But what you can consume is khadi shakkar, which is an unprocessed form. And I would like to touch up on understanding volumes, okay? Ancestrally, if you visit your grandparents also, and if you ask them for chai or coffee, you'll notice that their teacup is this much. Or for that matter, even if you go to a tapri or a filter coffee place,
Small.
it's just this much.
Yeah.
अभी उसमें पानी है, उसमें दूध है, उसमें कॉफ़ी या चाय है, उसमें शक्कर कितना पड़ेगा? But now if you go to, I won't take names, but you'll go to stores where they are tall and then they are grand.
Yeah.
So what have you done? You've increased the volume. Now to sweeten a beverage of this size, it's going to take at least 6 to 7 times the sugar that would go into a tapri ki chai. Right? So my clients have literally got those tapri cups and they've kept it and they're like, I just drink this much chai, and it is actually, it takes care of you because everything matters. It's funny, but even the circumference, it cools it down, right?
Yeah.
When it's big.
Yeah.
And then because it doesn't have the temperature, it's not going to give you the
spike,
dopamine and the
yeah.
kick that you're looking for. But when it's then you can have like a conversation and chai and it's still hot and you're उसको वो फूक मार के ठंडा भी कर रहे हैं and पी रहे हैं, and that is when it hits the spot. So we always technically had it right.
Yeah.
I'll still take a sip from this.
Very interesting. Okay. Let's talk about deficiency and cravings, right?
Yeah.
Cravings are impossible to resist, and it's not just sugar. Of course, sugar is a big one. But there are so many different cravings that you have, that one has.
Yeah.
And could often mean that there's a deficiency of some kind.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. So I'm going to list out certain cravings, and you can tell me the corresponding deficiency in your opinion.
Done.
Okay. Ice cream.
This could be calcium because of the dairy, or it could be iron. It's called pica because when people want something really ice cold, it could be that. So it's either of them.
So what can one do to...
Foods so I would say eat foods that nourish you with both the nutrients. And more often than not, if you're eating a balanced diet, you'll have it. Whether it's palak paneer, whether it is olive seeds, whether it is boiled beetroot slices on the side of your plate along with a full meal, or it is squeezing lime over poha, a glass of milk, sattu doodh.
Okay. Chocolate.
Magnesium.
It's a deficiency of magnesium.
Yes.
Okay. So
Yes.
how can you overcome that deficiency?
Firstly, I'd like to point out that it's okay to want to eat these things, but like you said, that these are cravings. So when someone's like, I can't live without this chocolate now, I need it anyhow, that's a craving. But as a decision to eat chocolate is okay sometimes, because I feel like people have to start understanding food freedom, and that eating things as a decision where you own it and that doesn't own you. Just that shift is necessary.
But there are a lot of people who...
So people are not scared of these things.
But there are a lot of people who say, crave a piece of chocolate after dinner. Every day.
वो तो अभी ना words तो people love using ना, load up on vegetables, crave this, it's my weak spot, it's my sweet spot. See, that's the thing now, we're all becoming clones who are eating the same food, speaking the same words. That's the issue. Okay. So all that I was trying to mention was that there should be freedom and understanding that you're not supposed to be scared of these things. Yeah. Eat them from a decision where you own it and that doesn't own you.
Okay. What about French fries?
French fries, carbohydrate and electrolyte, because more often than not people are craving for or they are lacking in salt. So a lot of people started using pink salt, which doesn't make sense. You need iodine and the government provides it, right? Like we have iodized salt. So you're ideally supposed to use that.
White salt.
Yes, the table salt.
Okay.
So get it back onto the table and yes, use that because that is what your thyroid needs.
Okay. What about coffee?
I would say sleep. And I was going to say happiness, but I'm going to say dopamine
Yeah.
because, yeah.
Pizza.
I think pizza is just food, but there is a theory that when a woman craves for a lot of bakery items like bread, it is the deficiency of an emotionally available father.
Really? Okay. That's new.
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to the next section, and it's one of the most popular topics on Realign, which is manifestation.
Yeah.
And so much is said about I'll manifest, this, and this is how you do it, and how you can kind of structure your life around manifesting anything that you want. But still, people find it most difficult, and this is like research and studies, to manifest their ideal body weight or their ideal body type.
Yeah.
What is your opinion on the manifestation process in weight loss?
So I would say that, okay, number one, doing practices for these things. Like now imagine you're a naturally thin girl. Are you sitting and writing 3 times and 6 times and 9 times for this body? What is a naturally thin girl doing? She's not doing any of these practices. She's being, and like you are creating a life of love, doing everything that you love doing. That's it. So that you don't have to fill up your womb space or your void or the vessel with food anymore. You're filling it up with happiness.
What is the womb space or vessel?
So the womb space is, biologically, it's the uterus, but it is a hollow organ. So you can carry stories, emotions, trauma, sadness, or happiness. That's up to you. But you also have the chance to shed it every month. Right?
Of course.
And then recreate and rebirth from there. And that is why I absolutely love the female hormone system. So to answer your question, when you're trying to get a dream body and you want to work with energy for that, instead of trying to manipulate energy, use energy to transform yourself. So the very first thing is to know that take any goal. Let's take the dream body here. There is a version of you that has that dream body. Your work is not to go to the dream body. Your work is to become the version of yourself who has that weight loss. How does she talk? How does she walk? How does she eat? When does she stop eating? Is she comfortable saying no for late nights and getting in bed early because fat loss happens in a recovery state? Then do that. Start doing everything that she does. And this comes as a side effect of that.
Have you encountered this where somebody has manifested their dream body?
Yes, a client of mine has. So, see, they also do it in the best way that they know. And I feel like doing is the portal to being, which is do what is the best you know, nature will guide you back.
Correct.
So I had one of them and she would keep messaging me. She's like, I'm getting obsessed with her. I'm obsessed with her. I'm feeling alive. And she just lost weight. Because
she overcame that plateau.
Yes. Like not a plateau, but she just had to lose weight because she started obsessing with the version of herself that is present at a certain timeline and she just had to be her.
Very interesting. Okay.
And like I said in the very beginning, it is a moment to moment behavior and demeanor. You can feel like your past self. It's allowed to feel. And in fact, you have to honor all the emotion that comes up. Feeling inadequate, okay. Feeling sad, feeling upset, feeling unworthy, whatever. Feel it. Acknowledge the feeling. And still, on the outside, what are you still going to be doing in that moment can be different, and that is what is called response and not reactivity. And when a woman achieves that, she wins the world.
Wow. Okay. What is the law of correspondence?
The law of correspondence is as within, so without, as above, so below. So basically, for fat loss, all feelings are accessible to you, right? I can sit here feeling absolutely spacious and skinny within, and that chances are that's why I'll stop at that coffee after 4 5 sips, because I'm done. But if I'm already feeling like I'm stuffed, then on the outside it will correspond and I will stuff myself with the entire mug. Right? So
How does that work? If you're stuffed, wouldn't you stop?
if you're not actually stuffed, you're feeling stuffed, you're feeling that I'm heavy, and then nothing else matters. Then to curb that feeling, I will have that entire thing because it'll give me some serotonin to have a semblance of balance in my feeling within. Got it?
Yeah.
To make me feel good about myself.
Okay.
So when you leave space within, when you feel skinny within, what you feel internally, it's easy to create on the outside. So imagine if you eat a meal till you're feeling skinny and till you're feeling very spacious and light within, and then the doorbell rings. You have the opportunity to take life in because there is space within you. But now if you've stuffed yourself with a meal, you want to go and take a nap. If the doorbell rings, you're not going to get the door. You say no to life and to all your blessings and to your dream body.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Okay. Let's talk about lunar cycles and natural phenomena that happen. And
Yeah.
people think that aligning their dietary restrictions or certain practices around these phenomena, right, like Ekadashi,
Yeah.
can really help.
Yes.
Does it actually work, right? Like aligning your body cycle to the rhythm of the natural cycle of the earth and the universe?
Absolutely. So, एकादशी के बाद 3 दिन के बाद फुल मून पड़ता है एक एकादशी पे in a month. Okay, so technically what happens is that the moon affects the mind. The lunar cycles affect the mind because they affect all water bodies. So the tides. Now, even we are a water body. We are 70% water. So the mind can start getting restless. Now, that's also the word, where the word lunatic comes from, where you start feeling restless. So, yes, so some studies have also reported that people experience epileptic and non-epileptic seizures more towards the full moon or on the full moon day. But basically what happens is that rice is born in water. It swells in water and it holds water. So now on a day like Ekadashi, where you are supposed to actually be more centered in your brain, in your mind, to be in meditation and prayer, if at that time you are having chawal, when you're already restless, so it can add to the restlessness in the body and take you away from
alignment,
dhyan and alignment.
So what would you eat around the lunar eclipse?
Millets.
Yeah, like things that are low on water content, effectively.
That don't hold water.
Yeah. Or
that
expand
don't
with
retain
water.
water. Yes.
Yeah.
So millets. And also, so I love stories. And
I love stories.
Yes. And they say that Vishnu Bhagwan loves chawal. So as out of respect, Ekadashi is Vishnu and Krishna ka din. तो उस दिन पे चावल नहीं खाने चाहिए. That it is the food of the gods. Scientifically, it is also to give you a digestive break and add millets. Because ऐसे ही पूरा nature cycle चलता है. That is the way people have even ever eaten kuttu, rajgira, sabudana, etc. Right?
Very interesting. So, is there something specific that people can do during these times, to say calm the monkey mind, calm the body cravings, to naturally float through these cycles of the moon and align them with the cycle of the body?
So I would say on these specific days, sweet potato. साबूदाना खिचड़ी, राजगिरे की रोटी, lotus stem, makhana, peanuts, milk products. These are the things that will, because your digestion will stay calm, the mind stays calm, the gut and brain axis. Because when we're eating lots of vegetables, meats, garlic, onion, and stuff like that, the digestion can rev up because these are complex and they need to be broken down, which on other days are great.
Okay.
But specifically on a day where you want to be in alignment, where you want to feel centered, then these foods are helpful.
Okay. We go to the next section. It's called Women's Corner.
Yes.
I'm very excited for this one because you have so much knowledge and you really understand both the emotional and mental component as well as the physical component. So we'll start with the basic. I don't know if it's a myth. You can correct me if the research is wrong. Is that when you're going through when you have diets or when you're going through rigorous workouts and training, a woman tends to lose more hair. Is it correct? Is it not correct? And what can women do to protect their natural state of physicality while going through a transformation?
Right. So I'll give you like 2 foods later, but I'll tell you that one of the main reasons why, see, women have started thinking that they are small men. And then they train like that. And that's why what happens is that they lose periods, they lose hair, and they have hair on the face. Now, who has hair on the face and who doesn't get periods?
Men. Yeah.
So when you move away from your femininity, you move away from your delicate hormones, and you start training like a man, you will notice that you'll have less hair here, more hair here, and loss of periods.
Is it reversible?
Absolutely.
How?
One of the most beautiful energetic ways would be to step into your feminine energy. It is, the whole don't chase, attract.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's not just how you do it on the outside. It is also what your internal state is. When you're in a waiting room, that when I get that job, when I get that man, when I get that dream body, then I am worthy. That waiting room is chasing energy. It is to create enoughness in your system to live so much in the present moment, because the present moment is also, God is your masculine, right? It's penetrating to you. It is, you're receiving it. You're supposed to be such a good receiver in that moment that this is enough. And then again, what's on the outside is on the inside. You start feeling enough.
So my problem with this is that while I agree, and I feel like I've, over the years, figured out what works for me to feel that sense of fullness and that sense of fulfillment and worthiness and alignment, it almost seems like for a lot of women that these are just words, right? To say that I'm feeling worthy and you should feel enough and all of those things. Yeah. What is one practical way to just do it? To get into your femininity, to feel that sense of fullness and that sense of I'm okay. I don't need to chase the external validation, whether it's a career, a partner, a life goal, a body, but actually feel it in the now.
Like I said, feelings are always accessible to us within. So let's say, for example, when someone is like, when I will get my partner, I will finally feel like I have everything in my life. Now, you don't technically want a partner. What you're seeking is security or validation, because you feel like when you have someone on your side that you become more valid to society. And again, that is a very tribal response, right? Because in the olden times, if a woman in a tribe did not have a protector and provider for herself, chances are that she would be separated from the tribe or can get killed also.
Yeah.
That was a survival response. So yes, sure. Do we carry a lizard brain? Yet we do. But it is our responsibility as one, a human being who has evolved from the tribal age, as well as an adult, to know that these feelings are accessible within. How is it that you can start feeling secure and safe within without having this thing on the outside? And you need to start creating that. Whether what is it that you would like your partner to do for you? Start doing those things for yourself.
Yeah.
What is the feeling that you will feel after you have achieved your dream body? Will you feel more valid? Then start feeling that right now. It's like wear what you want today. Like so many of my followers have just started wearing sleeveless tops already because they're like, yeah, I'm valid even now. And you know what's funny, Karishma, is that when you start owning who you are, you attract what you want. You can only change what you are first willing to accept. Because imagine it's like I'm giving you're my kid and I'm giving you an iPhone 15 and you come back ungrateful saying that, Mom, I don't want this, you've thrown it around, you've scratched it already, and you're like, my friends have that, I don't want this, give me an iPhone 16. You think I want to give you an iPhone 16?
No. Yeah. Okay.
If you couldn't own, accept, cherish, embrace the iPhone that I gave you,
why should I give you more? Yeah. And you were saying you have 2 foods.
Yes. So 2 foods would be, okay, number 1 would be olive seeds, which are also called garden cress or halim seeds. You can just simply soak them in water. Just take 2 pinches. Now don't overdo anything. It's hot right now. So just 2 pinches in water overnight. Strain out the seeds and put them into coconut water or chas. And you can have that during summer.
Okay.
During winter, that can be turned into a kheer by adding chwara and milk and kesar.
Okay.
These combinations, they come in synergies that help your body absorb the nutrients, and you get the hair of your dreams. And the second thing would be, I would actually just touch up on the complete amino acid profile, which is eating complete protein sources. Eating chicken all day, eating eggs all day. If it had to give you the hair, you would have that hair today already. Supplements, they cannot get into the pathways where natural food can, because our systems have evolved that way.
Correct.
So food first approach. So complete amino acid profile, as well as because complete amino acid profile will also
What is a complete amino acid profile?
The complete protein that we spoke about, about grains and millets having methionine, and so it is mixing up dal chawal, sambar chawal, idli sambar and chutney.
Correct. Okay.
And if you'll see, most South Indians have great hair, right?
That's actually very
chawal,
true.
Yes.
But also hair oil? No?
Rice. Yes, of course. I don't know why we stopped oiling our hair. Like I still oil my hair.
Even
like,
I still oil my hair.
Yeah, twice a week, coconut oil. Back to basics. That's it.
Okay. Let's also talk about hormones and menstruation, such a critical part of a woman's being. Are there any nutrients or any food items that help regulate hormones? And help better your menstrual cycle?
Yes. Again, I would say, Mother Earth is, the idea is grounding. Grounding is soil. Soil is minerals. Focus on minerals. So that would be iron, calcium, magnesium, and fats. So great combinations would be, so we've done something called the building milk on my Instagram, where it is basically soaking dates, nuts, kesar and elaichi in milk, blending that and having that. So even in Navratri, a lot of people have this milk, so that, because when you're fasting, you shouldn't see loss of period. It'll give you the necessary nutrients to go through with the necessary bleed and the shedding. The second I would say is khajur ki kheer. And the third, I would say ragi malt.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. There's also a lot of research around the fact that hormones like cortisol and sex hormones don't actually work well together.
Yes. Oh, they can't coexist.
How?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sex hormones like estrogen and progesterone and cortisol. You remember that I don't know if it's still a thing, but whenever a couple had to make a baby, they would be sent off on a vacation that, go and make a kid. It was because if you're going to be stressed here,
Yeah.
you're not going to, be in in your fertility and be able to conceive. So basically, progesterone which is a sex hormone, gets converted to cortisol in the presence of stress.
Oh, okay.
So yes. And that's one of the main reasons why. See, you cannot avoid stress from life.
Yeah.
But you can learn to respond to stress
Differently.
unfazed.
Yeah.
You know, when Ajay Devgan is walking and then these cars and bomb blast is happening, but he's just like, nothing's
Yeah, it
happening
seems
to
like
me.
nothing, yeah.
That unfazed, yes. So for men, that would be working on their, of course, men have a natural bigger nervous system container. For women, it would be to work on their inner masculine energy to create that very unfazed attitude in the face of shitstorm.
Okay. Another very common diagnosis in women is PCOD.
Yes.
How can one balance their nutrients or food chart better to maneuver PCOD?
So I'll give you 3 S's. Okay. The first is slow down your food and your pace of eating it. How can you slow down your food? Ghee into your meal will slow it down. You become leptin sensitive. You become insulin sensitive. So slow down your food. The second would be to strength train and do that just twice a week. Don't go to the gym and overdo this routine. Do it so that exercise gives you energy, not exhaustion.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're only adding more stress to your body and it's going to backfire. And the third would be to supplement omega-3 or simply eat a flaxseed chutney to give you the nutrients that you need to go through with this.
Okay. Let's talk about a later stage that arrives for women, which is menopause.
Yeah.
And the body goes through so many changes, both on the hormone front, the physical front, the emotional front. What can menopausal women do to make their post-menopausal phase easier and not with so much contrast to their premenopausal state?
Right. I think your post-menopause remedy starts during your menopause by allowing yourself to stay a little big, for the lack of a better word, during your menopause. It's simply because when your ovaries are not producing your female hormone, which is estrogen, during menopause, your fat cells are. And we need that kind of a protective mechanism of the body so that you don't go in sharp decline. Because estrogen is important. Even when it is declining, estrogen is responsible for something called osteoblasting, which is the absorption of calcium, number one. And the second, it will prevent your bone tissue from breaking down. So you can retain that bone mineral density and the muscle mass for later by ensuring that you go through your menopause with absolute grace.
Okay.
Allow yourself to be a little big. And with respect to foods, I would definitely say the flaxseed chutney, a rajgira roti, and milk. These are 3 things that should be included.
Okay. we now move on to viral social media trends. And I just want your quick take on it, right? Like,
Yeah.
are they effective, not effective? Should people just be like, don't even look at it?
Yeah.
Or it's
Yeah.
worth a try?
Yeah.
Okay. Cold plunges.
Very bad for women.
Really?
Yes, because it'll give you a cold womb, and traditional Chinese medicine has already spoken about this, where you cannot cut off the supply of energy, nutrients, blood flow, and warmth to the womb. It'll only make your infertility, endometriosis, PCOD
Worse.
worse.
Okay. Detox teas.
Oh no, we have a liver and kidneys for that. We don't need it.
Okay. Juice cleansers.
No, not at all. In fact, it gets rid of the fiber. You'll probably lose your periods because it's not a complete meal.
Yeah. Apple cider vinegar shots.
Just use it to detangle your hair.
Okay.
Bas. No, it's going to erode your gut lining, your teeth enamel.
Okay. Alkaline water.
You'll need that if you do all the apple cider and all of that, because that will shift you into acidity and then you'll need this. But no, water naturally is pretty neutral. Regular water is absolutely neutral. Subah when you eat soaked badam, that is alkaline. Fruits and vegetables, they are alkaline. So now see, if someone eats a very, very meat heavy diet, then you will need this.
Okay, yeah.
But if you maintain balance, you don't.
Pilates for weight loss.
I would at this point say anything that feels good to your body, gives you that resistance, and actually it is a place where a woman won't have to really resist herself from that, okay, I don't have to lift too heavy at the gym, because sometimes even I've trained and I've noticed this, when you're in that state, you're like, yeah, I want to push more. I think like Pilates seems like a good option, whereby it's good for a delicate hormone system of a woman.
Also, it opens you up.
It opens you up, and again, now you're getting comfortable with the discomfort of being in that stretch and in that movement.
Yeah.
So again, it toggles you to your parasympathetic state.
Okay.
So I like it.
Gut health supplements.
No,
No.
not at all. No, just eat a diverse diet and allow yourself to be a little dirty. The more sterile your environment is, you're going to destroy your gut bacteria.
Okay. Reverse aging. It's so popular now that you can reverse age and do all of these things. What's your take on it?
Yeah. I think again, a massive part of coming to your parasympathetic state is about acceptance, right? So it is about accepting and swelling into the moment and being a receiver of what is. So no anti-aging supplements. When you create a life that you love, and in fact, if someone told me to even go back and live 1 month ago, I would disagree, because so much growth happened even in this month.
Yeah.
I don't want to go back.
Yeah.
No way. Like, I want to be this and more.
Okay.
So yeah.
We're down to the last question. You discussed so many different topics today. But if you had to summarize, right, of one habit or one mindset shift that our viewers can do today to just begin living holistically well, not like well with like trends or like, just like diets and cleanses. What would that be? What is that step one to true wellness?
It's very simple, and I would say that create space within yourself. It is to create space to take in life, which means don't stuff yourself with overthinking, a lot of food, a lot of stimulants. Let there be a certain sweet spot of hunger within you. It'll take you places in your life. You'll be in a position to welcome life, welcome your dream body, welcome more nutrient absorption, and welcome more blessings. And even when there are challenges, you will be in a position to stay unfazed to them. So yeah, I would say create space within yourself.
Such a great way to end the episode. Thank you so much, Raksha. We will have you on this podcast again and again because I just think there's so much more to add. But thank you for your time today. And I learned a lot. I'm excited to go and implement it. Gonna go and order Jowar to make my summer better.
I'm excited for you. Thank you for having me. It's been an honor.
We hope this episode added value to your lives. Join the Realign movement. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you in the next one.